Kiszmet, episode 2 of the podcast. Now, I'm back earlier than I thought because there's been some changes in my own plans, and honestly, the versatility is something to pat myself on the shoulder for, because I'm a very brute force, stubborn type who is somewhat non-resilient to change, at least for plans that I set myself. But I want this episode to focus on authenticity, right? Now, at first I thought, okay, there's some topics I could talk about. It's a bit of a struggle. And honestly, let's start with this. First, if you're new to this, Kiszmet comes from the word Kiszmet, right? It means destiny, and I talk about how we are going to earn our destiny. The tagline or mantra of my mission and my company, my purpose and my platform is the science and art of connection, right? Too many of us are lonely now, misunderstood, and this goes beyond just romantic connection, but we do not have a way to understand not only the relationship with others, but the relationship with ourselves, right? The longest relationship of all. So this podcast covers many topics, primarily focused on the art and science of relating, right, and connecting. But I started this to find the love of my life, yes, because I figured that in order to be respected, I have to penetrate the world. I have to put myself not out there. I guess you all are the eggs. My audience is typically women. You guys have to be seen. I have to put myself in there, yeah? So I'm on the search, and that all ties to what I'm getting to here, which is that this episode I want to be about authenticity, right? Now, they talk about this in mystical Delulu senses about, when you're in your perfect wavelength or frequency of expression, it aligns with the universe, your vibration. It's people who don't know any physics who conflate their emotions for reality. It's fine. Then they find some study about how there's vibration in physics and say, oh, that applies at this macro level. It's just Delulu in general, but there is some truth in terms of when you are authentic, and even that's a word that's thrown around a lot, but when you are true to yourself, there is less friction, right? There is less wasted energy because literally you have to spend less time performing, less time contorting yourself to either the image of others, to the voices and inner critics in your head from your upbringing, from media, etc. So it's almost just lower friction, right? A lower entropy system. And life is entropy. Life is going from order to disorder, from organization to chaos. So why would we want to add to that when we as humans spend our lives trying to organize against it, right? We don't wake up every day and say, oh my God, how does weather work? How am I going to source food? I have to start from day one, scratch again, right? It's almost like a sitcom that continues. It's like, okay, I know where I get my food from. I know to check the weather because someone learned about meteorology, so I know whether to carry an umbrella. We are organizing, yes? But no room goes from dirty to clean. It always gets dirtier. You can't push toothpaste out of a toothpaste tube and it goes back in as easily, right? So things move like that in systems, right? So given that there's already this natural slippage almost in energy or this disordering, being inauthentic is compounding that disordering in a life that's already messy, yes? Because the truth is you cannot perfectly read any system, yeah? But we use our judgment to better read it, yes? If you, let's say, are interacting with a man and you notice after a certain time, right, when he gets off of work, he gets quieter. You recognize the pattern. Okay, maybe now is not the time to pry him, right? And that could also tie biochemically. A man's testosterone in a 24-hour cycle starts to lower or lowers across the day, peaks in the morning, and then it lowers into the evening. Then there's another small peak, and then it goes up again around 3 a.m., etc. on average, okay? And all these things will correlate. Now, you could almost say the opposite, that in the courting phase, men might be more pursuing and love bombing and all these types of things when they're in the higher testosterone phase. In relationships, when they come down, they almost want to be more nurtured, at least in the semantically inaccurate sense, meaning it's almost like they're not going to be as brusque with their demands, etc. They're more open to your feminine energy, right? So it's almost like after I nut, I'm more neurotic in general, right? Because my testosterone is not as fixated on just hunt. So we can talk about this. We'll bring up some topics along this journey in today's episode. But what I want the recurring theme to be here is authenticity, right? Now, for myself, you see this on social media platforms. Some people say for the videos I spend a lot of time making, I actually get no views on that. And for the videos I just do off the cuff from my drafts, I get a lot of views. Now, of course, we all have a hindsight bias in the sense that people like to focus on their wins, right? People like to focus, even in finance, let's say, on the portfolios of what worked. And then they try to look for causation or correlation there. What's important is to look for also the anti-portfolio, right? When did you have a lot of conviction and when were you wrong? So I hear this from women a lot, right? Because women are naturally more intuitive than men. The left and right hemispheres of their brain are more interconnected and talk to each other. They're more empathetic so they can read social cues and nonverbal cues better. They're more introspective on average because they're less action-oriented, less dopamine-oriented, effort, etc., less testosterone-oriented. So they're able to grasp hidden meanings, right? They're meaning makers. Why did he send this? Why didn't he send this, etc.? They did a study in Harvard. I think it was with 35-year-olds or 25-year-olds. I don't remember the age group, but I think it was 50 people, and they put them in a room for 3 hours or something like that, 50 men and then 50 women in two separate rooms. And they asked them after, what did you all think about? For men, it was sports and sex, right? For women, it was replaying past conversations. Okay, men don't do that. Now, once in a while, at least anecdotally, yeah, I replay, oh, I could have destroyed this person better if I said that, but barely, right? In terms of thinking about sex or future orientation, who's the next girl I want to sleep with, etc., that's constant for me. I'm a man. That's the truth for all men, whether they admit it to you or not. We'll actually talk about that too. How men are so afraid of women nowadays, especially groups of them. We'll talk about that, maybe. But point being is, women are meaning makers, yes? So when you think about intuition in general, intuition is not always correct at all. Else all of you would have your boyfriends, right? Where the fuck is your intuition then? It doesn't make sense. So intuition can absolutely be wrong. What is intuition? Intuition is pattern recognition, right? It's your genetics and your upbringing paired with reading cues and integrating it so you can recognize it in advance next time. Yes, that's intuition. It just is at this subconscious layer, and it isn't made conscious as quickly in real time with your neurons firing as you are able to be aware of it. So it feels like, oh my God, it just came to me, etc. I have this gut instinct, etc. And it does tie to your biome, your gut bacteria, etc. You get a weird feeling. That's all those things can be true, but it's more of an indication, a spidey sense, which you then have to check. You have to do almost what ChatGPT and GPTs or LLMs, large language models, do, which a lot of you may use. They use back propagation, right? They look at their first guess, let's say this AI, and then it looks what its response is that it gives you after going through all of its sequence and algorithm, parsing information and what you've prompted it. It gives you an answer, it checks how you respond to it, and then it back propagates errors to recursively correct its initial program, right? And that's why it's so effective. It's learning, right? So you have to do the same thing as women. Your intuition is not going to be flawless. Look at any female who's a baby. Do they trip? Do they sometimes think a plastic toy is food? Yes. What happened to their intuition? It's always correct. So this is that hindsight bias where when a woman a lot of times is with a guy that she ends up not being with, and then she finds out he cheated, all these things, it's like, oh, like retroactively, I always had an intuition about, then how are you with him, idiot? That doesn't make sense, right? Your intuition was wrong. That is the point. You see that with one of those dating coaches. She now is impregnated by a guy who's not around. And she is so low self-awareness that she says, I knew the whole time. No, you idiot. You got impregnated by a guy who's gone now, and you didn't follow your own advice. It's just embarrassing, right? And the women who follow them are even more embarrassing. They're peons to a peon. So the point is, your intuition needs to be refined in accordance with reality. The reality doesn't have to be external results like how much money did I make. Men are more external oriented, but it should be based on your internal feeling. Are you happy? Oh, I'm in a relationship and I don't feel good right now. Your intuition is not working, or you're not listening to it or refining it, correct? So anyway, this all ties back to this authenticity theme, because this whole idea that, intuition in terms of just presenting your message as it is, or trusting every emotion you have. Now, when I started this video right now, a part of me, I've started this platform. I have about 400,000 followers across platforms. 92% are women. because I curate my videos for women. I don't want to talk to dudes all day while I'm looking for the one. I'm straight, right? Who wants a dude being like, yo, thanks, bro. I'm not Andrew Tate here, right? I'm smarter. I want to talk to women. So I'm dealing with them all the time, and I have what feels like a duty and obligation to help them, right? I'm not here to just put down women. I didn't accumulate an audience to just yell at women, right? But the contradiction to that is that I deal with women who don't know what they're doing a lot. By definition, they're looking for guidance. And some don't know far more than others, right? A lot of women get triggered by my content, etc. And I hate it, right? I hate dealing with them. It's like dealing with a mini man. It's like dealing with a broken animal that's rabid that keeps trying to bite you. It's very annoying, right? So I have to balance that. Humans try to avoid pain more than they seek pleasure, right? Because the avoidance of pain is tied to literally life ending. So it's a more important evolutionary indicative biological signal in you. So if I wake up and I get 100 comments a day and 80 are very nice, but then I have 2 that are negative, my brain goes to, look at these broken women. I hate them. I hate it. Now, at my deepest part, yeah, I can be empathetic, etc., but I'm only human too. I don't have the love of my life to help calm me down. I'm a rabid dog in a lot of ways, so I'm aggressive. I'm combative. So when I see women do that type of stuff, it taints me coming here and being able to tap into my more protective side, right? I am a certain personality type. It's called an ENTJ, extroverted, intuitive, thinking, judging. And it's the rarest type. It's a very specific type that's almost bred from trauma. I'm very control oriented, right? I like things my way. I have deep visions about how things work, and I execute it until I literally make that true so that I can back propagate that belief and make sure it stays in a semblance of reality where I don't tell myself, oh, you were so wrong, right? I make my reality true so I can believe the upfront placebo almost, right? The initial impressions that come from intuitions, past intuitions. So I am very, let me put it this way. If someone told me, hey, write an essay up front on this topic, right, on speakers, and if someone else said, hey, here's my essay on speakers, read through it and correct it, I could tear up that essay way better. My instinct is to correct, construct, etc., right? Versus, hey, let me just ideate 10 different ways to do this. Now, I know on this platform, I have over 10,000 videos. You should go watch them. If you care about connection, you should watch them, right? Man or woman. I've been with more women than any man watching this, I'm sure. So I know how women work, and you'll learn from me indirectly, etc. And how to balance your life, because I've solved for the other things, money, health, all that type of crap. I'm like, the final thing is building family, yes, and legacy. So point being that, you know, it's way easier for me. It's natural almost for me to correct, right? To tell women, don't do this. What the heck are you doing? You're an idiot. Because that's how I talk to myself, right? That's why I'm so good at what I do. But men can handle that better, right? Men are combative. That's why men like those kind of people who are influencers in the male space who yell at them, because it activates testosterone. Like, yo, bro, you're a simp. You can't get this girl and stuff. It makes them be like, you're right. You know what? I got to fight back. You tell a woman that, it creates anxiety. It creates stress, right? They feel put down, inadequate. They retreat. So, I mean, I experienced this when I started this. I did a month of just talking more aggressively, and I got like 62 followers, and it was dudes. And I was like, oh, this sucks. I don't want to talk to these guys. So I changed my tone, and the impetus for that was not to appeal to women. It was to find my woman. So I imagine being in a room talking to her. And along the way, the truth is now I have so many followers. I mean, relative to the average person, relative to a straight man with the percentage of female followers, I'm in the top bracket, if not the number one. You know, I've lost some of that along the way, in the sense that it's hard to tap into always. It's almost like I got to get away from the audience to feel her. And that's tough, because it feels like I'm letting her down, right? It feels like a betrayal to her. I feel bad for the softer women who follow me, who are innocent, who are from a small town, and whose dad left for, you know, whatever reason, and they feel alone and they don't have guidance, and they're trying to make their way through life, and they don't want to do 3 jobs or travel and do some boss crap. And I feel like I'm letting them down by being more harsher, etc., right? I'm like, oh, they need this calming voice, right? They need the healthy big brother. The way even though I'm a younger brother to my sister, I was the philosopher. I'm the protective one, right? So I'm like, it's hard for me sometimes to tap into that, because I get whiffs of defensive against the women who disrespect me, quite frankly, right? So it's tough, but I almost thought, let me be authentic here. And it's funny, as I talk now, I'm almost tempering myself as I hear myself talking about that, because I'm thinking of her. You know, when I think of her, I don't want to be bad around her. Everyone else I really don't give a fuck about, is the truth. Now, at my best, yeah, I do, but I'm like, I mean, she matters the most to me, you know? So the whole point of bringing this up, which seems like a tangent, it's not, is that the authenticity theme, I was saying that I should just start right now and say whatever the heck I want, put down whichever women I want, like say all the stuff you clowns are doing wrong and all this stuff, and it'll feel good because it's authentic, it's my natural energy. And if I get a lot of hate and I don't get a lot of views, who cares? Then that should be a wake-up call for me that, yo, you have a problem. You're too angry, man. Like, you got to do something different. Or at least I'll just feel true to myself, and some girl on the other side will like it, right? Because almost the ruder I've been, I've actually gotten more of the girls I like who then interact with me. Honestly, it's the same thing in the bedroom. Sometimes it's like when you appeal too much to the women who are desensitized, when you try to coddle them, etc., and people please them, they don't fuck. Right? And then when I get a little pissed, it's like their natural submissiveness kicks in. They're like, oh, fuck. All right, hold on. Like, he's not trying to appease me. Now I have to appease him. Which is, I was thinking about that concept earlier, which is like narcissism. We could talk about that later. Like, I think girls who call men narcissists at large are narcissists, and there's not room for two narcissists in a relation, but we could talk about that at a different point. So the point is, yeah, I was going to be very aggressive on this. I was even dreading getting on this. I was like, I felt the urge to do this because I was like, you know what, this is fun. I get to share who I am, and there's people around the world who are listening to me. And then I was like, oh God, then the idiots started coming up in my head. I'm like, I got to deal with these freaking pigeons who are going to fly and flock in my ear. And yeah, see, you can even see my language change the second my cortisol spikes a bit, and I think about that, my prefrontal cortex stunts, and it's almost back to reptilian mode of like, But when I think of her, the better parts of me come through. So now I'm actually just confused about what to do here. But I guess that's authentic, right? And this is actually something important. I talked last time about how I didn't understand at some point. You know, I think I'm extremely smart. I think I'm the most eligible bachelor on earth, right? And because there are men richer than me, taller than me, all this type of stuff. I just don't think there are men who have organized life as well as me. That is the truth. And men are competitive like that. We care about social hierarchy. So obviously I want to be number one. You know, every man does in what they're good at. But I obviously chose the biggest thing to be good at. Because why do men make money? Why do we do everything we do other than for survival? It's to mate. And I'm the number one guy at that. That is the truth in terms of relative to my power, right? I don't use shallow things to get women, to short-term mate as a man. So anyway, the point is, yeah, I chose the biggest field. And what I empathize with is this is not unique to me. I think I'm the loneliest man on earth because I have the most to offer, but everyone feels versions of this. People don't like to talk about it. And this gets to the point that what I've realized is a big part of what people take solace in listening to me. This is like the joke people talk about with Instagram, that there's only haters there. They view my stories. I get thousands of views on my stories and not that many likes, right, etc. And it's funny because then you'll see some of the stories where it's putting down men and stuff that I do, and then I get a lot of likes, right? So you're just able to tell which women are becoming more active. The more active women in that negative sense are the broken women, right? So they're more combative. They want to like screw men. They post their little philosophy about like, I'm in my healing era. It's like any woman who says that, just to get the hell out of here. But the point being that, yeah, like that hater thing on Instagram, etc., the silent shadows of people just engaging, etc. I'm like, yeah, I lost my train of thought. See, again, anytime I start to get pissed, I literally can't think straight, which is hilarious. I mean, naturally, I'm sure you guys have experienced that. It was about authenticity, and I don't know what to talk about. Oh yes, that people, even in the shadows, are inspired by seeing me do what they feel, right? I am making real or manifesting in an outward shell their inner thoughts, right? Their inner anxieties, etc. And that is very important, right? Because leadership doesn't always look like, listen, sit down, tell me that you get it, etc. That would be nice. It would be nice if all the women who appreciate me, because I get so many DMs from women being like, your content changed my life, blah, 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 all this stuff. And they don't like my stories and they watch it. And I'm like, oh, so you're appreciating it. Honestly, it's stupid on their part. Show appreciation, you idiots. God, don't you want to give me the fuel to take care of you? But it's fine, because those DMs do more for me. Honestly, if I got to choose to never get a DM from a woman appreciating me and I got to sleep with women because of increased clout, I would choose that. Because as a man, I don't need to feel appreciated as much. Like, oh, you're such a good guy, you're helping. I don't know, whatever. I want to feel impact. I want to feel power, right? So I love when I hear that I helped a woman, etc. But I'm like, the main power I want first in my life is in my own life, right? With what I want, not just pixels on a screen saying that I'm amazing. I know I'm amazing. So my point being that is the importance of influence, right? I know in the last episode, I actually said, oh, I'm moving away from being an influencer, etc. And I'm like, no. Because I don't care about social approval a lot. I care about getting what I want from society, yes? But in the space I'm in, that's the difference, right? If I were an influencer for dances or something, I would feel like an idiot. But when you think about the world of women, which is the world I'm focused on right now in my life to find the one, what does best with women? Okay, let's do 3 versions of it. They're all tied to the same thing, underlying power. But let's do money, status or fame, right? And power. Now, how can those 3 be separated? Imagine someone who in politics who can dictate policy, etc., but they're not rich because they're doing it pro bono and nobody knows who they are because they're just a senator from a small state or something, right? Let's do the version where you're famous, right? You're all over TikTok, etc., but you haven't monetized, okay? And you don't have the power in terms of albums aren't coming from you. You're not able to get producers, etc., right? Women aren't actually trying to meet you. They just like listening to your music. You play a ukulele and you're 300 pounds, right? And then the other version, money, right? Nobody knows who you are. You're a random oligarch. You don't have any position of power, but you can buy your way. You can buy chicks to come over and things like that, right? You just DM them and send them a cash up. It's just like all of Dubai, right? If you're a woman and you're in Dubai, something's wrong with you. If you're there by choice, that's the truth. Wake up and smell the coffee. Anytime I see a woman in Dubai, I feel like I'm like, you deserve to have terrible love stories. And they always do. And I'm like, you deserve it. You chose this. It's a transactional, transient place with Sharia law where it's super intense about and that's fine that that's their culture, but I'm like, what are you signing up for? The locals aren't going to like you. They're going to bang you and discard you. So I'm like, what? It's stupidity, but you're going there for the rat race of random appeal of getting doted on. How do you think you're going to feel when you're 40? Keep getting plastic surgery and Ozempic? You look like shit when you do that. So I'm like, go to a nice place. Get the heck out of Dubai. It's a disgusting materialist city. People talk about, oh, it's so clean here. It's so like, yeah. Okay, try breaking their laws and see what happens. You think that's not barbaric? It's insane. You shouldn't be breaking laws in general. Adhere to the laws. But I'm like, what it's based off of religious fundamentalism paired with Vegas materialism. It's a concoction for trash. It's just terrible for women. Men, sure, go there and bang randos. Great. But whatever, it's very shallow. And if you go there as a woman, you're shallow. So nice little tangent on Dubai hate. Let's do that. Anyway, point being that authenticity, etc. So money, fame, and status, which one works best with women, right? Now, a lot of men, the shallow first thing is money, money, money. Yes, because be a provider, all this stuff. And money can buy you things, right? It can almost buy you clout. You can buy followers. You can buy power, right? You can lobby and etc. Super PACs and all these types of things, like Elon Musk style. And I'm like, sure, like all things can lead to other things, right? Fame can get you money, fame can get you this, all this type of stuff. But I'm like, in the world of women, the one that is the fastest wildfire is fame. That's the truth. People recognizing in the stream, women are very parasocial because they're looking to be influenced by women and men, right? They are community-oriented little bees that are more impressionable than men. You can look that up. So money only works if you then peacock, right? Money, they buy tables, they buy bottles, they offer to take you to Nobu, they'll fly you out to a yacht. There's a certain type of woman who prioritizes that. It's usually women who, it's funny, a lot of them make money themselves and then they become sugar babies. Those are masculine women, right? Masculine women who perform femininity, right? They'll get Botox, they'll get fake boobs and stuff, they'll get a nose job. It's like, babe, underlying, you still got low estrogen and your kids are going to have a big noggin, okay? So you can't change what you are, okay? And it's all just to post on social media clout to get other men, which is hilarious, right? They're monkey branching to try to get other dudes. You just keep going with this dopamine cycle, right? And it's all for men as much as then they'll claim I'm an independent boss women. Okay. You're with these dudes who are just using you functionally, transactionally. And then power, right, in terms of, let's say, like political clout and these types of things, that's also indirect. That's almost the most masculine version, right? That's like the lawmaker, etc., the guys who can design the algorithm of Tinder, etc. Those are all dudes. Those are like nerds. And then they indirectly have to go to women, and it's almost like House of Cards style. It's almost like they have to threaten women or show that they know someone, networking style. But the easiest thing, you can be a starving Brooklyn artist, and if you were on a little show for a girl where it was her favorite show growing up, it's way easier to bang her than all the other ones. So I'm like, for me, what I care about, what every man cares about, is power. Yes. And I'm like, I grew up with money relatively. My dad was conservative in showing us his money, but later I found out how much money we really have. But I'm like, I was raised with enough money where I'm almost desensitized to it, right? It's funny, for all of the 758 women I've banged, I have spent less probably than some of you men have spent on a single date. That's the truth, right? And that's not because I'm cheap and all this stuff. I probably have more money than you guys. And yes, obviously that some women will retort with, oh, that's because you're going for low quality women, etc. No, we can talk about this because there's a lot of women who think investing material resources in terms of money is indicative of effort. That's not true. Blowing $1,000 on a chick in a night is not so much to me relative to giving her a whole day of my life. I'm like, I got to listen to this girl yap just to bang her for 20 minutes. What is the point of this, right? That's more replaceable in the dark than it is my time. How many years do I have left in this life? How much money am I going to have in my life? Way more money than I am going to have time. So dudes who give their time freely and are possessive over their money are the worst, right? That makes no sense. Money doesn't mean a lot for a dude who has money, who's a provider, right? There's the other version of the dude who doesn't have money and then tries to debate, oh, well, why don't we go 50-50? You're supposed to be a feminist and stuff. That's coming from lack and scarcity, right? That's not the kind of guy you want. You want the guy with money who doesn't try to impress you purely with money and is willing to offer it if you earn that from him. But what do you even want from a first date? You want to be distracted by the dopamine of food, or he gets a helicopter ride? Again, dopamine. Like, what are you trying to get at with him? You want to see his effort in you and the sharpness of his mind, which means you have to have conversation, which means there shouldn't be distraction. So when I see all the shallow bimbo face girls talking about online, like a coffee date, honey, like I get my man to buy me a Birkin, I'm like, you're an idiot. He's a simp. What have you done to get a Birkin from him? And what is a Birkin even? A stupid ass bag that no man cares about, and women who care about it are dumb. It's not even pretty. It looks like shit. So I'm like, what is it that you're getting out of that? You want random purses? Why? Oh, to impress other men, right? To compete with other women? Why are you guys competing? What are we all doing here, right? It's all for the opposite sex. So I'm like, you want a man to put in effort, which should be creatively thinking about a date that is curated to you. That is true. I'm not saying just show up and just yap to her. Figure it out. Sure, things about her that are bespoke. But I'm like, up front, what does he know about you if it's your first time meeting? Just that you're hot? There's a lot of hot chicks out there. That's stupid. So I almost see it as a red flag. I see it as a woman. If I were a woman and I saw a man willing to go to the ends of the earth on the first date, I'd be like, you're a simp. You do this for every other woman. It's meaningless, right? If I saw him just try to be like, let me meet you ASAP, let me just figure this out, I'd be like, you're not being patient. I'd be like, we have technology nowadays to do phone calls and stuff. I would slow burn it. Let me see if he wants to do things that don't give him a hit. He has to sit here and yap like a chick to me. Good. Feminize him, because he'll tolerate that if he's masculine enough in his desire for you. Right? So anyway, it's fine. I don't have to debate these things with women. You guys can keep doing what you're doing. It's fine. You're failing and you're still single. If you disagree with me, it's fine. You're not getting the quality guys, and quality men think like this. A quality guy who buys chicks a lot of stuff up front, he's not quality. He's a loser. That's the truth. So whatever it is, you have to know the difference between a man rationalizing from lack and a man professing his power, meaning it's the difference between an ugly guy saying looks don't matter and a hot guy saying looks don't matter. There's a big difference, right? So whatever it is, point being that authentically, I wanted to show all of myself. Yeah. Oh yeah. Inspiring women. Oh yeah. The money, fame thing, whatever it is. So in my own life, I've decided I'm not running away from the influence thing, because in this world, if someone walks up to me and notices me on the street, in every town I go to, I've gone to small places in Europe, there's at least one girl who recognizes me. Do you know how epic that feels? That is a form of power. Like, I feel bad that most men will never experience something like that. And I'm not even a top tier celebrity, but I have enough that I can go to a random small city and girls recognize me on the street. Do you know how good that feels? The power? Because obviously then I act on it, right? So the point being that if I had that versus like I walk into a town and I've got $10 million and I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy the biggest table and try to get girls sauced up so I can secretly try to bang them. Ew. What am I, a snake? That's lame. All right. I'd want both, of course, 100%. But I'm like, I've got more money than I need, and I could take care of a woman. So I'm not worried about that part as much. And power is meaning pure like social status power style or lawmaker style politics. It's very masculine coded. You know what I mean? Like the women who follow politicians and things like that, I've seen primarily they're doing it as a fight against women they don't like, or they're doing it because the guy is just more direct than what they're used to, sometimes even than their husbands, etc. Right? And just because they're on TV a lot. It's not actually his political take on the tax bracket above 62% earn. I'm like, all right, you don't hear that a lot, right? So because women prioritize different things, right? They want to feel the emotional authenticity of a man because that's the world they live in, right? Men want to feel their impact because they live in the world of action. So it's different. So my point is, money is not. So I'm not done with the influencing thing. I was going to build this whole thing, and I'm going to build it now, but I'm going to build it for myself because it feels like an imposter to build a platform, get venture-backed funding. I come from the venture capital world, right? I was a VC. I was an investor for the CIA before I started doing this whole thing. And I'm like, I can raise money easily. I'm smart. I know what it takes. And I'm smarter than the founders we used to invest in my opinion. And I'm like, I don't feel like I want to go through that whole thing, writing the term sheets, raising money. I sat there and I was like, imagine I raised $40 million right now to start this whole platform. Okay, imagine I'm invited to networking events. Imagine even I go to events where women are like, oh my God, are you the guy who made Tinder 2.0 or whatever it is, right? I'm like, okay, so sure, I'll be known for my creation, not bad, but it's from like a business sense, etc. Versus I'm here influencing directly with how I live my life. And when women see me out there, they're not coming up to me. Maybe they think I'm attractive, whatever, all that stuff, but I'm like, they're coming because my content affected them. I'm already up in there. You know what I mean? Now that could happen if I created a platform and they used it to do something, etc. Right? But I'm like, that's almost helping them go to something else. In this case, I'm helping them also do what they need to do. But I'm like, they have to listen. They have to take me in. With the product or service, it's one layer away from me. Right? It's something I create and then you use it. It's like I build you a wooden birdhouse or something and then you use it with birds or something. It's like, cool. Oh, this creator made it. But I'm like, do you know the inventor of the ring light? Do you know who started the company Poland Spring? Do you even know the founder of ChatGPT? Like, I don't think most of you do. You know what I mean? But I'm like, if you're listening to me, do you know me? Yeah. If you're here, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'm not done influencing. We're just getting fucking started, baby. That's my point. And honestly, it feels wrong to build this whole thing for the world when I haven't built it for her yet. So I'm like, I'm going to prove it out in my own life, what I envision building. We'll talk about it later. But yeah, I felt like I should do a little bit more of that, which is talk about my life. I did a live earlier, like 3 days ago, and I was telling women, right, I've slept with 758 women. We did a little joke at the end. Like, I'm bringing that up, not just to be like, oh yeah, I've slept with this many. Like women aren't analytical, numerical oriented like men. They're not like, oh my God, 758? Wow, you're so cool. Or if anything, they're like, oh, why are you peacocking that? Does that come from lack or insecurity? I do it. It's for me. It's a part of my whole resume, right? But it's relevant in this space to not only make sure to put the women in their place who don't understand why that's a good thing in a man and a negative in a woman, but because it's a representation of qualification to some extent. That's the truth. It's the stories that have built me. It's interactions with women. They get triggered a lot by their own personal feelings because they're not self-aware enough to separate that from reality, where they're like, oh my God, you're just like the guy who did this, treated me this way, etc. You're not getting that. Do you not want to learn from the man do you want to learn how to fish from the fish or the fisherman, right? As they say, single women keep women single. So you want to hear from me. Why wouldn't you want? You can call me a narcissist, avoidant, etc. Sure, I'm that times 10 than all your guys. Your guys in their whole life will not bang as many chicks as I do in a month. So then wouldn't you want to learn from me how to read all the signs and what we do, right? Yeah, I don't hide this. That's the difference also between me and them. I'm more direct than them. That's probably why I pull more than them. So don't you want to hear from the actual lion's mouth how this works? So, the point is I played a game with them, right? And I first prefaced with them, do you really want to do this? Because I don't want to be crass and I don't need to talk about this. You let me know, because someone brought it up. And they picked numbers from the spreadsheet, right? Like 3 different numbers, like 263, whatever it is. And I have a spreadsheet with all the details. So I talked to them about that story, right? And the stories are not what you think, right? Even in that live, I had like 4 or 5 women who I had slept with, and they were very friendly, right? These are... When people think about sex, like sex is such this weird taboo thing. Like, humans are one of the only species that bang in private, right? Every other animal bangs outside. There's no shyness around it, right? I mean, I bang outside all the time. So the point, not all the time, that's crazy. The point being that it's so funny how we live it in taboo and then you complain about it the most with your girlfriends. Like half of the things you're yelling about at men is because you slept with them or something physical happened. You dressed up a lot to go on a date and then you got treated like crap. It's some sensory give. It's not like we got to talk about my feelings for 10 hours and then he disappeared. That doesn't hurt as much because your body as a woman naturally is resilient to that. You naturally want to share more feelings the second you wake up tomorrow. So it just comes back like a man. If I try to bang a girl without even giving any emotions and she keeps rejecting me and I get blocked, okay, next day I still get morning wood, I'll go for another girl. You have to look at your naturally replenishing source, right? So when I hear women who say like, it's hard for me to be emotionally vulnerable, I'm like, you're fucked then. What are you doing? Like, that's insane. You can be physically vulnerable because your bar for emotional validation is so low and you claim you can't be emotionally vulnerable. No, trust me, if a guy's inside you, that means you're emotionally vulnerable. That comes along with the package, all right? Whatever. So the point is, I'm not saying let's do that. I'm going to do that here. I'm not trying to show and tell and bring up different women. Sure, a lot of the women probably hate me, whatever it is, because I didn't date them after and all this stuff. But a lot of them don't, right? Like I'm saying that it's not just sex. It's interacting with them. This is why we come together. I talk to them. I teach them. I learn from them. All these types of things. So am I proud of it too? Does it feel like trophies? Fuck yeah, 100%. It's like Dexter or something. 100%. That's my hit list. Absolutely. That's true too. See, a man can have deep ego, which comes across narcissistic, and also deeply appreciate women. You guys think it's completely unlinked. The truth is this: if the majority of women are complaining about men being narcissists, what do you learn from that? One, that women have no fucking clue what terms they're using on average, and they want to feel like a victim. But men too. But what is the second thing that it shows? Kind of that women love narcissists, right? If that were true. Doesn't it betray that? Are women talking about, oh, this guy was just super anxious and he was just buying me flowers every day? Women don't complain about those guys, right? Who's stuck up in your head all the time? Who are you dating and then complaining about? Who are you sleeping with and then complaining about? So if I were advising a man, hey, should you be a simp or a narcissist? Out of the two, clearly you guys are signaling that, oh my God, this is what catches our attention, right? The real truth is the majority of them are not narcissists. You're not fully understanding them. And that, if anything, compounds the tension. No one's defending these guys for their actions. But the point is, you are co-creating it. You are enabling it. And you are an adult. No one's forcing you into those situations. We can empathize with how they came to be. Oh, your upbringing, you weren't given a good example. He lied about these things. Okay, what if I could lie to you right now and I say, hey, you should learn to fly off of these really tall cliffs. That's crazy if you believe that, right? You have to have good judgment in life. That is life. So point being is, yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to talk about my stories, but in general, I'm saying, no, I should talk about my stories while anonymizing the women, because it's a different way of presenting than this more analytical philosophy. And the women on the live learned a lot from it because I was being super raw about like, oh, this thing didn't get me hard. Like, this is when it pissed me off. And then I got on my phone and I was checking what time her Uber's coming. Like, you may upfront not like to hear that because it feels pejorative or like I'm objectifying. I don't need to share this with you. Do you think I want to go around telling women, hey, these are my stories with other women? I don't fucking trust it. That's in me. I want to share that with dudes, if anything. I just don't talk to dudes all often. But the point being that it can help you. If you are feminine enough to be able to not feel threatened by a man who's the type of man you want. You don't need to want me, but the virtue I represent, which is I'm a man who gets what I want. Men want to fuck. And I clearly do. So I'm like, do you want the guy who's good at what men want to get? Or do you want the guy who's bad at it and love bombs you and tricks you and all these things just to get a crumb of kitty? I mean, that's who you end up with, right? That's probably why you're triggered by me, because I'm a better version of him. I don't need to lie and I still pull. So I'm like, you can benefit a lot if I actually tell you these stories in the nuance, because when I say these things conceptually, some people are more conceptual like that. They can understand the abstract, which is like, there's a big difference between, there is polarity in the yin and yang of divine masculine and feminine, and there must be balance in terms of the provisioning and the role of receipt. I could talk like that, right? That's the mystical Delulu bullshit version. I can do the other version, which is like across history. 50-50 is a newer development from feminism that has actually seemingly empowered women, but broken their sense of actual internal feminine agency. We can do a historical version, which is a tangible concept like 50-50. I can do another version, which is like, do you know how many women I've heard from where if you are willing to take a man who puts in low effort, then he is not a man. And then you are enabling that. You should only allow a man who pays for you. We could do that version. But then there's another version, which is, hey, so this is the reason that this girl this week, I told her to come see me. I told her to buy her own train ticket and come to me. Why did I do that? I also say that men should provide. So why did I do that for her? What does that mean? Am I a hypocrite? Or is there a reason behind it? What about my interaction with her made me want to do that and require her to do the masculine? But there's a reason, right? Because I don't value her as much as a woman that I would fly to and write poetry and leave it in a park bench anonymously just so she feels a flutter from the stress of her days. And I have done things like that. So do you want to learn what causes that and why? And I'm saying that presentation, I think, can be very beneficial, right? And it's not just 758 stories I have. Don't worry about the sex part. Think about it. If that's the amount of sex I've gotten, imagine how many interactions I've had with women. And then with my digital presence, it's millions, is my point. So, I mean, this isn't trying to brag about me. I'm talking about what I can bring to you. And actually, that ties to something I missed saying in the last podcast, which is I want this to be a platform for my future family, for my daughters and my son. So I'm not just talking about love here. I am going to talk about politics. I am going to talk about science and technology and finance and history, because I want to teach my future daughters and my future sons and the world after, right? But my family matters most to me. And to make that family, I got to find the one. Yes? And to find the one, I got to like myself. And this is what I like right now. So I will be building what I talked about, etc. I mean, you guys don't care about that. You don't even know what I'm talking about, but I'm building something to help me find the one, and it's going to help the world, is my point. It's bringing science into helping you, like we talked about in the last one. I'll give a quick recap. Nutrition is online. Your menstruation cycle is online. You can track it on Flow. Budgeting is online, but how we connect is not. There is no debrief after we have a conversation. They only have the stupid option on Hinge or something. Would you re-meet this person? Shut up, right? I want to know during, in real time. I didn't like that he said that. I want to give real-time feedback so that it trains and learns who I am and what I like and why I don't like certain things, right? Why there were changes in the conversation. Now, some people will say, you can't gamify these things, etc. Okay, then just eat whatever you want. Read no nutrition labels. Don't look at any fashion trends. Do not budget. Just feel it out and spend at Target when you want. Technology is not your enemy. We get to use technology how we want. Does it influence us negatively when it comes from the hierarchy? Yeah, these ads, they listen to us, all these types of things. I'm talking about how you use it. Are you going to stop driving cars because it's technology? Let's buy a horse and let's go to work. No. So I'm like, it's the same thing. You're listening to this because of technology. How quickly are people willing to crap on the thing that they simultaneously engage in? How quickly are people willing to crap on Amazon and the effort and the pay of Jeff Bezos when none of you could think of it? He is more important than the employees. They don't deserve a certain wage. If you don't like it, don't work for him. He invented Amazon. If he makes $10 cajillion and decides to burn every dollar, that's his right. He earned it. That is the point, okay? If you don't like it, don't work for him. Screw him. That's fine. But I'm like, the entitlement, the amount of people in colleges saying capitalism is bad, while those idiots can't even pay for their own education, get it funded through a credit card. Do you even know how the credit system works? Like free Palestine, free Israel, all this stuff. Can you point at it in a map? Do you know the history of it? I'll admit I don't know the deep history of it. That's why I don't yap about it. So instead of filling your life with meaningless purpose, thinking you're a they, them, some kind of mangled identity in order to escape from the fact that when you sit in a room at night, you are lonely as fuck. Why don't we first solve that? Why don't we make you not hate yourself so much that you got to drink and party and fly and hang out with other failures who tell you you're okay? It's not okay to fail. It's not okay to be in pain. That sucks. You're supposed to fight that. You're not supposed to just quickly take some antidepressants to numb yourself because you were born that way. No, it's not true. They prescribe 1 in 4 women now, age 25, antidepressants. What the heck is that about? That's crazy. It's not real. So many people getting diagnosed with ADHD. No, the pharmaceutical industry is making money off of you impressionable psychos. You guys are crushing your own souls. Is the truth. So we got to fight back. You got to fight for yourself. You have to want pain. You don't want a man who's, hey, do you go to therapy? I want an evolved man. Wait. What is therapy for? For not knowing what the fuck you're doing in life. And not to mention for women, okay, it's one thing. You guys like to gab. Go pay for a friend if they're actually good at what they do. The majority of therapists aren't. Men going to therapy to talk? Are you not embarrassed? What the fuck are you talking about? Yeah, my guy goes to therapy on Tuesdays. That's fucking pathetic. Tell him to go fuck someone or eat some meat or go do a push-up. Get some sunlight, bro. That'll make you feel a lot better than yapping to someone and paying them for a friend. Go talk to ChatGPT if you need. I do. To solve problems, to figure out how to get something done. Going there and someone asking you, so how do you feel? Did this start with your inner child being repressed? Is this the shadow work was your stepmother? You think that makes a man feel better rather than giving him $1,000 right there and a kiss on the cheek from a beautiful woman? Then you do not understand men. So the fact that you are enabling this cuckery and emasculation of men while sleeping with men who represent the opposite shows a lack of self-awareness, okay? So authenticity and self-awareness are very hand in hand because if you are not authentic, it's almost a loop, right? If you're self-aware, then you know what you're actually feeling. So you have the chance to actually be authentic. If you're not willing to share the truth, then you'll block yourself from seeing those truths in yourself. Like, no, I couldn't have done that because I actually like that girl. No. It was just because I wanted to prove to the boys how easy she is. No, dude. Like, you have to be able to do both, okay? So, anyway, so I guess I always do figure out what to talk about. I mean, I can keep talking. I will. But the point being is these are important topics to talk about. You know, they put out these stats like, oh, loneliness is the equivalent of 15 cigarettes a day. All right, what the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Okay, we know it's bad. Nobody fucking likes being lonely. And then people try to rationalize, no, I'm alone, not lonely. I choose to be single as a woman. No woman on earth who's of age is choosing to be single. You are not being chosen by a man you like. Then they try to retort, no, I have all these guys who want me. That is like me saying there are all these girls I can try to sleep with, and they don't want to. That's the equivalent of you being the egg. You don't want to date these guys. That's why you're single, right? How about the men you want? Can you get them? Or you'd be with him, right? So you're not single by choice. You're a femcel. That is the truth. You're celibate, actually. You're emotionally celibate involuntarily. That's the truth. Just like as a man, he's physically celibate. No man is... I don't have sex by choice. What are you talking about? That dude's not pulling. That's the truth. There's one thing about, I don't try to do it every day so I can retain my energy. Sure, men, their sperm levels, testosterone peaks on the 7th day, 145.7%. Bang once a week. That's what I do, right? But men who say, yeah, I went through that, bro. Now I'm above that. And the stupid women who follow that, I saw some influencer. He's like, it's always dumb because they'll tie God into it always, right? And it's funny because some of those guys do the most haram. They're like smoking the hookah and then they're like the secret wolf in sheep's clothing. I'm like, you're a human. What are you talking about? God and all this stuff with no evidence. I'm like, bro, you're just using a different mating strategy just as a white knight loser. There is that one dude who's so annoying, and then I see women reposting it. I mean, they're all so many stupid ones out here. It doesn't matter. Let's just focus on putting out the good stuff, not putting down these losers. So point being that authenticity, self-awareness, extremely important. Being willing to admit that you are lonely is good. It is a good thing, I'm saying. Loneliness isn't good. It feels bad. Talking about it, very good, especially as a woman. Right? You guys like to talk. That's what I wanted to actually bring up today, which is maybe I'll do some stories here. It's funny because like a lot of those podcasts, even Taylor Swift songs and like Call Her Daddy, women, when they talk about their stories, right? There's a difference here. Women are more gossip oriented, so they're almost forgiven for that, even though their content is trash. I mean, Taylor Swift has some good songs. Call Her Daddy, that chick's broken. But I'm like, women's stories come from the inner meaning, right? How it affected them emotionally and these types of things. It's like, it's a different type of storytelling. Men, it's from experience, right? It's almost like war stories, right? The things I've overcome, the things I've done, which you can take different types. It's like lessons versus emotions. One is like it's almost like 10 commandments can come from the stories I'm talking about. From the women, it's almost like, this is how things are supposed to feel. And this is how things are not supposed to feel, right? So when I talk about stories, I don't want to go into gossip mode of like, oh my God, there was this girl who did this. My brain doesn't think like that. But I do process a lot of my philosophy, reinforced not just from science and research and clinical data, but from my stories, right? Like that back propagation thing we talked about. I test against it. I'm like, what I read didn't align with what I felt. Let me look for research. What happened here? Or wait, what I felt I don't understand. Let me look at something I read to understand it, right? Both directions. I'll give an example, right? So I mean, I have women who call me randomly and stuff, right? If you sleep with this many women, you get people from the past, etc. I get random women who DM me and all this type of stuff. And I'm like, see, I still feel this hesitation to talk about specific people because I'm like, I don't want them to feel like I'm putting them down, but I'm like, I feel what I feel, right? So I'm like, it's almost like it'll come across like I'm fixating on them, but it's like they're one of a million nodes that I have. But in choosing them, if anything, negative attention is still attention. They'll feel chosen. I'm like, who gives a shit? It's fine. I'm just debating whether I want to go into that topic because this topic's about authenticity and self-awareness. I'm like, I could cap it here. We're at 50 minutes. And I also want to talk to the one, Let's not be nervous. Let's not be nervous about being a little vulnerable. Let's do it. Fuck it. Who cares? I live once, right? Who the fuck am I scared of? I don't give a fuck. Let's do this. All right. The story I was going to say is that there's this girl who keeps calling me. Okay. She calls me randomly and it's dumb because I never pick up recently, right? I just don't pick up. I have maybe a year ago when I fucked her or whatever it is. And she just calls randomly. And I'm like, how stupid must you be to keep trying this strategy? Clearly you want to talk to me, right? Either one, just dip away, right? Let's say, okay, screw this guy, but she likes me, okay? Understandable. It doesn't have to be, oh, girl, have self-esteem and stuff. No, I offer her shit done. She likes me, whatever it is. And I've been inside her. And let's not defend that right now. Let's just talk about the logistics again. Just let the story flow, okay? So she calls me all the time and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, clearly your brain's not registering. This isn't working. Then she sends a text every now and then, like some random text. And I'm like, if I'm not blocking you or putting you down, why wouldn't you try something else, right? Finally, she sends a picture of herself looking decent. Then I respond, oh, ding, ding, ding. Is that me trying to train her, etc.? No, hopefully that occurs separately. But I'm like, that's because men are visual, right? This is what I've thought of earlier today. I'm like, women ask men, what do you bring to the table, right? It's a dumb question to ask because you don't want to challenge a man like that. You do want to assess him like that, but you want to ask a nuanced question, right? Has your plan for the next 5 years changed in the past year? Why did you think that happened, right? Is there something in your life that made you want to do something different than what you've always planned for the next 5 years? Like, you want to get him to fucking really have to think and prove himself to you, right? So it's like the same thing. Qualify himself for sure. Don't let these guys off easy. If I were a woman, I would fucking interrogate the shit out of a man, right? And I'd read the room. I wouldn't like push and be like, no, wait, I'm not done with this question. I would ask, but I would observe. And I would go for nuance for sure. I would want a man who wants to prove himself to me. All right, this sounds weird saying that, but whatever. It's fine. So this woman, she does that. And I'm like, men are visual. This on the table thing. Women ask, what do you bring to the table? I'm almost saying for a woman, it's like, what do you bring under the table? Now, that sounds a little crass, but there is truth to that, right? What do you bring under the table in the sense that men are like the sun? Your light as a woman is reflected from the sun in the sense that if you end up with a bad, abusive dude who is poor, guess what? Your life is going to be shit. That is the truth. If you get a woman, right, who's not hot, but she still bangs you all, that she's always down to bang, etc., right? She's poor and all these types of things. She isn't taking care of the external world. Your life as a man is not going to be terrible. That's true, because your life is largely determined by what you create in the world. And then the quality of the woman reflects that. But point being that the house you live in, right? The way your day-to-day is reinforced. The freedom you get from having to take on stressful things, because he takes that on because that's his nature, is fundamentally different, right? So the son you choose is going to reflect the glimmer of your life. How many women can relate to that? You chose a bad guy and your life got screwed, right? Not because you were a victim, all right? You were a victim of experiencing that, sure, but you chose the wrong guy is what it is. But I'm like, you see the connection, how that worked, right? Now, can men get screwed over by choosing the wrong women? Yes, but that's only when they get their claws into the external life, right? I didn't do a prenup. She took 50% of my money. Okay, that's a crappy law in the first place, but that's because they tied into the external, right? If as a man you keep your external your own and a woman's internal is her own, right? You don't get screwed on that, right? Men aren't coming and scratching your journal and your artwork and things like that. They're yelling at you, right? They're controlling you. At worst, they're abusing you and all those types of things, right? And I'm like, that crap screws you up. As a woman, the cortisol you get from that, it's terrible. The fear, it's insane. Your amygdala is going to be frazzled. You won't even know how to recognize pain. You'll then think a good guy is a bad guy because he just turns the wrong way and stuff like that. So that takes healing. And we can talk about that, a little baby step exposure therapy and then feeling contained, and then it slowly rewires you. But so the sun and the moon, right? So what do you bring under the table so that your man can shine in the world so that you get to shine at home? Not literally in the home, but also that. But I mean, internally, you get to keep your glow. Okay? So I'm like, when I really think about women, I'm like, do you really want to be going all out there, going to work, putting on it? I'm like, no way you feel that. You want your passions. You want to socialize with your girlfriends and all that stuff. You want sunlight and nature. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about conquering the world and getting status and all these things. You enjoy that as a woman? I don't believe it. I'll never believe it. A woman who says that. And any woman who's doing that, I guarantee if you give me a year in her field, I would dominate her. I'm a man. I will compete. I will be more analytical. That is why in every discipline, in every career, even more female-coded industries, fashion designers, chefs, it is always men. It is always men because they will work harder at the external and take on that stress. Women shouldn't. It sucks that you guys do that, even though if you look at the best home chefs, it's women. You look at the best home creative fashion designers, 100% women. Look at how men dress. What are you talking about? Right? So I'm like, the point being, that sun and the moon, what you do under the table, meaning how do you reinforce him and be the home that he comes to? And how do you literally under the table suck his D, right? You better. I thought about that too. I'm like, those women who are like, I don't have to bang him like when he wants. I don't have to sleep with him. They're in a relationship with the guy, let's say. And they're like, I just might not feel like it, etc. What if a man just said, I don't feel like paying for you today. I pay for this apartment. I want you to sleep outside. You guys would be all up in arms, right? And I know that's being like, oh my God, so you're making a transaction, our bodies for his money. I'm like, what if he said the same thing? Why do I owe you the money when I don't like you right now? So the point is, unless you're feeling sick or something, and he'll have empathy, right? If you're in the middle of creating a painting project, he's not going to try to bang you, even though that's kind of hot. But I'm like, as a man, if you're a man listening to this, and I'm like, if you're in a relationship and like your woman doesn't want to sleep with you and it's not a valid reason or whatever, by all means leave her or tell her you're going to bang someone else. Straight up. Don't even listen to it. Just do it. Straight up. If you're paying for everything. If you're not, that's probably why she fucking hates you. So man up. But I'm just saying that's another thing. So the point I'm tying that to is over the table. What do you bring to the table? A man's got to have that external resume. He's got to be able to pay for the meal. He's got to be taller than you, all these types of things. But under the table, literally, you can get a little gluck, gluck action. That's on the crude side. But I'm like, how do you reinforce and help him understand himself so he crushes it in the world so that you get the rewards of those things from the world, right? I've noticed that in women that a lot of them who will feel insecure, right? There's two different types of anxiety. When I've seen women who are anxious about their own value, they're like, oh, I just don't know if I'm enough for you, or like, I just don't, people talk about, don't men hate anxiety, etc. No, women are naturally anxious and more needy, and they've shown men are more attracted to neurotic women, but there's two different types, right? There's good anxiety and bad anxiety. A good anxiety is about things women should be anxious about, which is, where is this relationship going? Now, you don't say it like that, just like the earlier thing. You don't say like, what do you bring to the table, right? There's ways to say these things, but you are not supposed to be leading the direction of the relationship. He is. So if you're unsure about that, you're like, wait, well, what is this guy's plan for us? Does he want to have a family? Are we building a house somewhere? Those are valid anxieties that he has to take care of. When I've seen women do that for me, how do you feel? How do you normally feel about women? Like, what is your way of wanting to court a woman? Like, what do you see in terms of where a woman fits into your life? I'm like, oh fuck, I better step out to the table and prove to her so she feels safe. But then when a woman has internal anxieties, which this is the thing, it's become so normalized that women are like this, that it's considered it's a virtue that's being feminine. I'm like, no, that means you're not great at being a woman. It's women who are insecure about themselves and they want a man. It's so funny. The women who will say, I'm not going to be a therapist for a man. You're a shitty therapist for yourself. Don't talk about you're not going to be a therapist for a man. You can't even handle your own fucking life. You're not going to be a therapist for a man. You're not fucking qualified. Please. Any woman who tells me that type of stuff, I want a man with EQ. Your EQ is shit. Please. Okay. He's going to be good at IQ more. You're going to be good at EQ more. That's life. All right. So whatever. The point being that you are going to be slightly a therapist for a man. That's the truth, because you have better emotional intelligence. That is the truth. When a man is angry at work and he's like, I can't believe I didn't get that deal. It was supposed to be $2 million. Now they've downsized it to 1.8. You have to be able to cool him down a bit. Does he have to self-regulate and not punch a wall? Yes. But that is the point of a woman, which gets to this whole point. That when a woman is anxious about herself, sometimes women message me and they're like, I just don't know if I'm truly being myself, or in a relation, they're like, well, I don't know if I'm enough. And so I'm like, ew. Oh, you peon, you ant. Go. You had your whole life to be a woman who likes herself and knows herself. Now I have to babysit your ass. I have to be a therapist as a man. Men are not good at that. Okay. It takes the opposite skill set of therapy to conquer the world. You have to turn off the feelings. Sure, you could say intelligence, social intelligence of reading how men are going to act, women are going to act, gets you what you want. Yeah, I have, if anything, a little femininity of learning females and how they work. My intuition is relatively well developed, which is why I get to fuck more of them. It's like I have enough androgynous feminine intuition that I can bridge it. If I was just machismo, like, yeah, I like fucking sports and beer and shit, I'd fuck less. That's the truth. So whatever, the point is that you have to be able to, you have your whole past life to maintain your feminine, which is why you must dodge stress as much as possible, not take on the jobs, all this stuff, all this insurance policy things of becoming the boyfriend you want to date. It repels a good man. It's not because he's intimidated. It's because he's repulsed. When I see a woman who's ambitious or successful, aka you're a failure in love, you're not ambitious. You're not ambitious in the bedroom to make kids, are you? I'm like, I'm not intimidated by you. I don't need you. You offer me nothing. That is the point, except sex. That is the truth, right? So I'm like, a lot of these women on apps are like, oh my God, they only treat me sexually, because that means a man's calculating this is all you're worth to me. That is the raw truth. If I were a woman and I saw a man judging me as that, I wouldn't get angry about it. He might be totally wrong. I would tell myself, okay, this guy doesn't see my value. I'm just going to withdraw. Or I'd be like, maybe I'm not offering enough. Let me do something more. But I wouldn't. Oh, yeah, well, actually, but what the fuck does that get you? You don't attract bees with honey, and you sure don't maintain your energy fighting with men. What are you talking about? And this gets back to that original theme I started, which is men are scared of groups of women. I've seen women in the count be like, well, the same applies to men. They even did that for me recently. I said that a woman's ovulation, your fertility goes down exponentially after 32. And of course, some old single woman is like, actually, this isn't medical facts. It's 35 and it depends how healthy you are. Yeah, you idiot. Obviously, your health is going to affect it somewhat. We're talking about clinical statistics. This is from the Institute of Obstetric, like gynecology or whatever. Go read some science. And then she's like, well, it's the same for men. No, it's not. No, it's not. You'll see 70-year-old men who impregnate women. You won't see 70-year-old women getting pregnant. Is it worse quality of sperm in a man after the age of 45? That's when it becomes material. Yes. Increases autistic outcomes, all these types of things. Some will say it's after 40. Men's testosterone drops every year after 30. You can argue that means they're less fit genetically, etc. The point is they can still impregnate you and it's not going to screw over the child like a woman being too old. That is the difference, right? So I'm like, that's a tangent point to saying that as a woman, you don't yap and fight about it. If you want to learn, you say something or just don't comment. Right? So there are these fundamental differences. The women who do this, what about men? What about them? What about this? Shut up. The video's about women. That's why I'm making it about women. Why don't you go talk to men? Because I can do whatever the fuck I want. You go talk to them. You go start a page. No one wants to listen to your ass because you're stupid. That's the point. A little anger, let it out a little bit. All right. Anyway, so the point being that, and it's actually funny because you look at sperm clinics and the average sperm donor clinic, doesn't allow you to donate sperm after age 44 or 45. So I'm like, it also aligns with that, whatever it is. So back to authenticity. You have your whole life to be this almost soft person for the hard man, right? And I see, so this goes back to this woman who keeps calling me. She sends this picture, etc. And then she tries to say some cute shit, some random shit that I don't give a fuck about, right? What does it do for me, right? If I'm pursuing you, women can get away with a lot. You can say some random poetic thing and I'll be like, oh, wow, where's that coming from stuff? But if I'm not in your favor, your brain has to be thinking, what can I do for him to get his attention? That's the truth. And you may not like that framing because it makes you feel submissive to men. You are doing that even for men who are going to court you, right? You have to decide to dress well, right? You put yourself out. The egg still has to attract. You don't just get to sit there like a fat ass. Some women say that to me too. They're like, oh, I'm not in great shape. What do you suggest for plus size women? Get in shape. What do you mean? What do I suggest? Get in shape, right? You keep trying to be healthy. That doesn't mean you don't date. You show up and you keep improving and you see that you don't get the results. The biggest upfront shallow resume change a woman can make is get hotter. Hip thrust, RDLs, Bulgarian split squat, eat healthy, stay out of the gym, do Pilates, collagen, get hot. And the amount of men that will take you seriously is so much more. That other idiot influencer talks about the taxi cab theory. She's an idiot. I mean, she's also sounds like a man. Women like that would never get anywhere with men. So the point is she talks about, oh, when men are ready, they just choose the first woman in front of him. No one chose you because you're not hot, chick. All right. Get hotter and stop yapping so much. She also made a video about like, I had my hoe phase, and then she obviously had to turn comments off because she's still that. But whatever. Point being that, at least that's what I think. So point being that self-awareness, you have your life to spend developing that. And this ties to this girl talking about random stuff. And then she just dips away, right? Like she's scared when I responded finally as I was getting pissed. I was like, I don't give a fuck about the shit that you're sending me, right? And then the performative version is like, oh, okay. I'm like, push forward a little bit, right? Be like, oh, what do you want? I think it's so insane that women don't ask men, what do you want, right? Men might not have self-awareness as much as women, but they'll say what they want. Women, if anything, don't know what they want. You'll ask them, hey, what do you want in a man and stuff? A lot of them will say, oh, I want a kind guy, these types of things, etc. They're self-aware about their feelings. If you try to suss out what makes you feel this, they'll have a good read on that. You tell them to give it in philosophy, they're idiots. Just like men, you try to talk about like, how do you think you feel right now about me sending this? If I had to answer that for this woman sending this, I'd have to think about my past and the trauma and why that makes me defensive about this, why I feel like it's a fly, why I feel the need to say something without just being like, you're an idiot and blocking. I'd be like, oh God. But if she said, what do I want? I'd be like, this is what the fuck I want. Then you can decide whether you want to do it or not. But the point is, a lot of you women are not doing the push and pull. And don't worry about this situation with this random girl. But the point is, there has to be a push and pull. You're so scared of the fire that then it turns into magma and then into rock. And then he's lost his feelings for you. You have to be willing to stay in the space of the fire and turn it into steam. So I'm like, I see these women who post these same things. Their selfies, they post their stupid matcha and shit. Who the fuck? No one gives a fuck about your matcha. You didn't even invent that shit. You didn't even create it. You haven't done shit with it. You're just drinking something with a little sugar. Congratulations. Post something original about you. I do not see women I see women who do their little routine. They're like, oh, I'm back at home doing my habits and stuff. I'm like, where the fuck is the emotion? Where is the yearning? Where is the longing? Where's the authenticity? You want a man in the shadows? Why are you hiding that? Show what you need. Let a man problem solve it. Again, there's nuance. That doesn't mean you say, honestly, if a girl posted and said, I'm the loneliest I've ever been, I've seen girls post shit like that from the boonies, from the middle of nowhere in like Kansas. And I'm like, and they're overweight and stuff. And I still sometimes once in a while DM them and they have like 40 followers because it makes me feel something. You have to be able to be so good with your feelings and be expressive with it. You saw my stories recently. A girl just messaged me and said, we love you so much, like the way you've changed my life and stuff like that. You think she was scared about, will this up his ego and all this type of shit? Okay, it's reinforcing the ego that I fucking earned. If I had to choose to spend a day with the girl, would I choose her or the girl who messaged me and said, Well, let's see if you can keep up with me. Shut the fuck up. You're saying that from your own insecurity that you have to project outwards as if you're in control because you don't feel in control right now. So the PTSD from your prior times when you felt helpless, you are now making it combative and weaponizing it against a man who's actually in control. And that, again, is not intimidating to me. It is disgusting because it feels like I'm talking to a dude and I am straight. You understand? You have to not be afraid to be a woman. That is what's going on with so many of you, like with men. Women are too angry, men are too sad. That's what's happening. So I'm like, if you're talking about self-love, you don't love yourself. Be self-love. Create something. If everything for me ended right now, I would have 10,000 videos out there sharing who the fuck I am, going for what I want. And I'll never apologize for that. That's what I do every day. That's how I show up. A lot of my videos get 100 views. I have 250,000 followers on TikTok, and some of my videos get 400 views because the algorithm, God knows, right? I don't care. I don't care because I'm there, and she might be on the other side of it. And that's what matters. And I'm a man. If I spend the rest of my life not finding the one, I can still fuck 1,000 new chicks and I can still have a ton of kids. My life won't be the worst. If you spend the rest of your life without love, I am telling you, you will be depressed. I'm telling you, you are giving up on yourself all because of the wrong men that you chose. They're still up inside you, and you think you are strong and championing for yourself by running away from the reality. You think there's no one in love right now? That is not true. I have started a platform where I talk every day to the love of my life, and I haven't even met her yet. It's not because I'm fantasizing of some insanely crazy girl. I have dated girls before. I have positive things to say about them and the women who follow me, and women in general. Of course I'm capable of dating someone, right? Of course they're going to come with certain things that aren't going to be great, like me. But you have to show up. And that is why I am here. And this is the authenticity. Honestly, this wasn't as aggressive as I thought it would be. Not bad. But I am showing up to show you how showing up looks. You're not going to sound like me, aggressive, come out all that. You're not going to do analytical philosophy, but you got to show up in your way. I don't want to see the fucking matcha. Paint something. Take a fucking leaf, attach it to a Coke, and say, hey, it's nature juxtaposed against fucking plastic. Wow, at least you thought of it. I want to see you. That is the point, right? Now I feel like I'm maybe big brothering a bit because this is like me kind of talking to like a younger woman who needs my guidance, but it's also to my love. I mean, I wouldn't talk in this tone to her. I'd give a speech if I weren't looking in her eyes. If I were looking at her, I'd say, you can't be scared of yourself because I'm not scared of you, right? Anything you're hiding is basically you saying that I can't see you. And I'm here. My life is here to see you. That's why I'm here. That's why I built all of this. So I don't want you to hide from me, right? Because you're not hiding from yourself. Well, what's there to hide? You spend your whole life with yourself. You're hiding because you might not think you'll be enough. You might not know how to be received. Just take that first step. Show up in a little way. Maybe it's not the best art piece. Maybe you're bad at singing. Maybe it doesn't make sense, but at least it's you. And that's what you want someone to love. You want someone to love you, not you repackaging something else, not you repurposing something else. I want to be able to see you. So to do that, you have to show up as you. So that's what my ask is for all the women out there. For the men as well. For men, it's not being seen as much. It's do something. Reach out to that girl. Let her say no. Let her ignore you. She wasn't, go to the next one. Do a push-up while you're at it so you're a little stronger. You got a little more aggression in you. Write a business plan. That's something that you really care about, that you think you could be good at. Learn something. Read a book. Then message her again in 2 months. Who cares? Triple text her. Who gives a fuck? She hasn't blocked you if you like her. Find another girl. Try again. Get up and try again. That is what I advise to you as a man. So I am here as beyond me. That is why the mission is called Kiszmet. It is about earning our destiny. I don't matter as an individual. What I matter as is a symbol, right? A call into the dark, a light where there's shadow, to show you all you can do the same thing. You can do it. You can have it all. Life can be a movie, and you are the writer of it. You understand? So let's do a little summary now, a little wrap up until the battery dies, I guess. To say that, to the girls I brought up in this, even the Dubai girls, even the girl who's doing the calls and all this stuff, I understand. All right. I get it. Yeah, I'm human. We can do all that. I get triggered, all this stuff. But I'm like, I want you to be happy. All right. I know what pain feels like. I sit in loneliness every day. Okay. I don't want you to feel that. It's hard to help you when you're not willing to help yourself, but I'm still here for you. You can still use the link in my bio. It's a pop call link. You can text me for 80 cents, for 80 characters. I don't sleep. I'm a vampire. I'm here to dine and feast on you during menstruation. No. All right. Well, chosen few, But you are not alone, okay? You haven't been. Our paths just didn't cross. All the more reason. See a little technology. Shout out again. You're here. You're here for a reason in a non-mystical way. You're here because you were online scrolling. Your algorithm thought you might want to see this. I created this content to penetrate you. I was supposed to fuck you the whole time, babe. Don't you get it? We are not separated in time or space. So I want you to have your story. I want you to want to understand yourself. This isn't just about love. This isn't just about romance. That's the best version of it. But this is about self-acceptance and what we have to do to be willing to accept ourselves, because not everything should be accepted in yourself. Like we said, if you're feeling sad, you don't jump to the antidepressant. That means you're doing something wrong. But that means we can change it. What do they say? If you're happy when you go on vacation, that doesn't mean you're depressed. It means your life is shit. So I'm here to change your life. Yeah. It's funny because when I give these speeches, when I get on camera like this, when I'm interacting with people, I'm different. When I'm on camera, it's different. Some women ask me that, oh, are you different online versus offline? No. I'm still me. I still talk poetically, all this stuff. But I'm like, when I'm in this emphatic mode of like yelling philosophy, it's so different than how I am in real life. Because this type of guy, I mean, sure, I'm eloquent, all this stuff. I can still pull with this guy. But this persona is not what gets me women as much. In person, I'm a lot more... my whole tone is slower and more, it's almost more observant. It's like Edward Cullen watching Bella. It's more piercing. I almost want the woman to trip on herself and then I'm ready to catch her. I want her to reveal herself to me and I'm just the board that prods here and there and sees what spills out. Because right here, what I'm doing is I'm really fucking throwing all this shit at you, right? Because I'm talking to my fucking self. I'm in a fucking room talking to a phone. But I'm like, it's very different. I'm just reflecting on that. I'm like, my swag in real life is so different. If anything, I'm much quieter than I am here because it's better for women. I like to present as dumber than I am because I like to be in control. And that allows you to be in control, especially for more broken women. Actually, I've also made a decision about that. I can't handle Rhode Island. This Providence thing, the chicks are busted. And it's I have to actually put in some effort to fuck. I'm like, I don't want it. I need the sustenance while I look for the one. So when this ends right before Thanksgiving, I think we're moving. It's time. I promised I wouldn't move back to New York until I find the one. So I'm not going to move to New York, but I'm moving back to New York right outside of it. So I can 20 minutes drive in to fuck. And then I can focus on the one. So yeah, I think come winter, where all roads lead back home. And I feel like my testosterone's going up. I've just been more, not combative, but I'm just more honest recently. I don't know, something changed in me. I think going through all the farm stuff, I went through this whole journey. You can watch it on my Instagram in the highlights. I just feel like myself now. I feel unapologetically myself. I feel like I deserve my life. So yeah, I feel like I'm bred for New York. I don't see men as competition. I don't see the women there as potential, but I'm like, they're hotter. And I'm like, I'll give them the privilege of my dick. No, it's the privilege of the world to receive my heart. But, all of this, I still feel I didn't pervade the veil of talking to her. Because if it were really you on the other side, I'd say, God damn, where are you? It's tough. It's tough to talk about this stuff. You know, everything I do, every thought I have, it's what motivates me when I feel my worst. And at my best, I think of you. I don't know what my life would be like without just even the imagined version of you. And I can't even wrap around what it's going to feel like actually meeting you and being with you. My sister and parents used to say things like that when I was younger. They're like, oh, you're not going to like road trips anymore. You're not going to like dancing at clubs. Like, you're going to grow up and stuff. I'm like, I still do that shit. It's just like sex with men. It's like, oh, you'll outgrow it now. I'm a man. I still love road trips. I still go to clubs here and there because I like to dance. And I'm like, my love for you will always burn. I've wrote love blogs when I was 17. You know, I'm double that now. And I'm still me. And I've got more energy than he did. And you know, a big part of it is not just about me. It's that you deserve me. Let that be the most romantic, narcissistic statement ever. But I don't want you going through life alone. I know if I feel what I feel about you, I know you're feeling it too. And I don't want you to feel like you are not worthy of the love story that you are. And it's my job to make that dream come true in you, to show you that it's all real. Yeah, I'm not scared of the mantle, of the responsibility to impress you for the rest of my life. I'm made for it. So, you know, sometimes it feels like a waste talking out there into the abyss. I don't like to fantasize a lot. I like to act, but in those moments where I can just still myself and really see you, you know, it makes it all worth it. So yeah, we're going to keep going till my last breath. And when we meet, it'll be fantastic, babe.